Have you heard about this videotape that kills you when you watch it?
What kind of tape?
A tape. A regular tape. People rent it, I don't know. You start to play it, and it's like somebody's nightmare. Then suddenly, this woman comes on, smiling at you, right? Seeing you through the screen. And as soon as it's over, your phone rings. Someone knows you've watched it. And what they say is, you will die in 7 days.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff.
And happy Spooktober. We are 2 weeks into Spooktober here at Spooky Tuesday. And this week, we are covering a movie that made me shit my pants when I was but a mere child. And that is The Ring.
This fucking movie. I didn't watch this movie for how many years has it been? For 18 years or something, because I was so scared because all the kids who watched, one, I saw the trailer, I think, and it scared the shit out of me. Two, all the kids who did see it in 2002 were like, I died from watching it. And it was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. And I was like, I will die. That's the scariest movie ever made. And then I watched it in 2016, and it is pretty scary, not the scariest movie ever made. And then I watched it last night, fucking freaked out. I'm so freaked out now. I spooked myself when I was pulling the quotes. I spooked myself 20 times. Had you seen it, Chelsea? You hadn't, right?
No, I hadn't, allegedly, because apparently I watched it on some friend trip that I went on. But like I said, I think I fell asleep and I didn't see any of it. The thing is that this movie is so present in pop culture that there had been so much of it that I already knew about or had seen in some way or had seen parodied. I saw a post recently on Tumblr or Twitter, I think, actually, that was I'm at just the right age to have seen the scary movies and Not Another Teen Movie before I saw any of the movies that they were parodying.
Yes.
Which is exactly the case for me. Because we talked about that when we watched Scream 2. I was like, I had seen Scary Movie and Scary Movie 2, and I did not realize how directly it was parodying that movie, the theater scene with Jada Pinkett at the time. I knew the ring scenes in scary movies were about the ring, you know what I mean? But they're also so exact that it is almost as though I had seen parts of the movie already. You know what I mean? And I liked it, and I'm excited to talk about it, especially the ending. But I wasn't scared really at any point, you know what I mean? I wonder if it was just too saturated in pop culture for me. Usually I get one or something at one point in the movie, you know what I mean? I like to have at least one. And I didn't have any little jumps or any little screams at any point this film, but I did still like it.
I think I was just in a spooky mood because I was just quaking from the beginning. I was deeply unsettled in my soul for the first 30 minutes. And then the middle 30 or 40 or 50 even, because this movie I think is a little too long.
Very long.
So long.
There are parts that maybe my brain shut off completely. I tried to rewatch some of them right before, but I was like, no, I don't remember this at all. And I've seen this twice now. And then I came back in right for the good part, and the end slaps. But
Okay, well,
I totally agree with you about the Scary Movie thing, because Scary Movie 3 was I did see that. My scared ass saw that, and I was still terrified. And I was still terrified of that. And to this day, if you say oh, Scary Movie or Scream, I synonymously I associate those names. I was talking to Adam last night, and he was like, oh yeah, this reminds me of Scary Movie, obviously. And then I was like, oh yeah, it does remind me of Scream. And he's like, I literally just said Scary Movie, not Scream. They're synonymous to me. They're all the same.
Okay, well, if you, dear listener, just like Chelsea, haven't seen this movie yet, The Ring is about a journalist whose niece has like a freaky deaky death. I mean, gruesome, scary flashback death. Uh, and starts investigating a mysterious videotape, which causes whoever watches it to die in 7 days. 7 days. Which it's been 7 days since we have told you that we were going to watch The Ring.
Did you
Which one
watch
do you
it?
think? Yeah,
Did you
which
watch
I,
it?
I mean, I think we all had to have watched it. Which one
No,
do you
no.
think is gonna die
We
first?
might have actually made like a huge mistake by telling all of our listeners to watch it last Tuesday because they might all be dead now.
Yeah, that's who I was asking. You know what I mean? I just want to know, like, if they watched it 7 days ago when prompted. I didn't watch it until last night, so I've got myself a nice little bubble of time here. I'm good for a little bit longer, but if they were on top of it and they were like, I'm ready to go right now, like, RIP. Sorry.
Our download
RIP.
numbers just tank. We did this to ourselves, you know?
We might have girl bossed a little too close to the sun.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But yeah, I mean, I think when my first, other than Scary Movie, my first recollections about this film are one of the guys that I watched it with was just like a hater, I guess. And I remember him mocking this movie. And I don't remember exactly what he was mocking, but just like some logical leap, like, oh, the videotape must be what's killing people or something like that, which is like, okay, first of all, yeah, does this movie make 100% sense? It doesn't need to. You know what I mean? I don't need to
It's a
know
haunted
how the
videotape.
videotape works. I don't need
It's
to
cursed.
know. And also, like, that's the exact premise. You know what I mean? That's how they open the movie, by being like, did you hear there's a videotape that kills people? Like, that's all I need. You know what I mean? I think I really liked this movie. I'm so excited to tell you the ratings on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes when that moment comes, because there's some real variety there. But I just think, you know, like, do things have to always make sense 100% of the time? No, shut up.
No.
Enjoy the experience. You know what I mean?
Chelsea,
And
you've
I
grown
think-
so much on the pod from when we
No.
started.
All
Like,
right.
you
Hold on.
demanded all logic in every film. And I was just like, it doesn't make sense. It's fine.
Supernatural things don't need to make sense because they
Okay,
don't
okay.
exist in our
Important distinction.
realm of reality. Or maybe they do, whatever. But I am not
Yeah, you
familiar
don't know.
enough with them to know the rules that exist already. And there are some explanations. If you read IMDb trivia, they have like a lot of information that either comes from the Japanese movie from 1998, Ringu, or from the original novel, or from The Ring 2. Like, they do try to explain things more in the sequel. And there's also like a whole IMDb trivia paragraph at one point explaining like the actual cause of death from the videotape, basically making your brain explode from the inside out or whatever, which, like, okay.
Yeah. I also read something that it might have been from the novel, because there was a novel of this book. I don't know if I think that was first. It wasn't like a novelization of Ringu or Ringu. I'm not sure how you say it. I also really want to see the original, though. I read a few articles.
We should do it.
Yeah, we should totally do it. Because most of the time, I would say almost every time, the US remake is way worse. So, though I did read an article that was like, this is the only time that it's better, but like, I'm going to wait to see it myself.
To say better in quotes for now.
Yeah. But there was something that was in the article about the novel that was like, watching the video, like, gives you a tumor in your brain and then that kills you 7 days later. And I was like, wow, I don't actually need that. I'm actually
If you tell me that a videotape kills people, that's plenty. You know,
it's a
let's
tumor
not
in
get
the
into
viewer's
the
heart.
specifics.
That
In their
kills them
heart.
in your heart. The novel
I guess
also
that
states that the tape
makes-
manifests a tumor in the viewer's heart and then kills you on the 7th day. And there's all this shit about like, because apparently in the book, Samara, our little
Mhm.
spooky girl, is called a Nensha. And sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. And it's some sort of like creature, spirit, something like that. And she has psychokinetic powers to burn images, feelings, or memories into objects with her mind. So
Yeah.
that's why she makes those weird X-ray pictures in the movie. No explanation. We didn't need it, but now you know.
Well,
I was
it's
like, what is
also,
that?
but like, it's also why we learn like the horses all committed suicide and like killed themselves. Was like she made the horses kill themselves.
Did she? Oh, because she didn't like the barn.
Because they kept her
in
up
the
at
night,
night.
and they kept her up at night. She
Yep.
doesn't sleep, as you well know.
Yeah.
True.
She never
True.
sleep.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay. No. I like where we're at. And so sorry to anybody who thought that there wouldn't be spoilers for a movie that came out in 2002. That also, first of all, you know, if you are listening to this podcast, you are spooky enough to have already known pretty much everything that happens in The Ring, even if you hadn't seen The Ring. Like, there's just no way to get around it. I knew everything except for the horse thing. You know what I mean? But the main details, at least. But yeah, the thing that I saw for Samara was that like she's beaming images into your brain as well, and that's what makes your brain explode from the inside out, because it just gets like overloaded essentially.
Nice.
And
Love
that's
that.
why in the moment right before, and you see this in the beginning with Amber Tamblyn, in the moment
This
Amber
intro
Tamblyn.
is so good.
But you see this in the beginning with Amber Tamblyn. You get like the flashes of the images right before she died, or maybe you don't see this in the beginning. I honestly can't remember, but there is an IMDb trivia piece that's like, if you don't see it, but you go frame by frame, they're there. So
Oh yeah, I don't remember those. I won't go back to it though, because that part freaked me out so much.
yeah. Frankly, those images are extremely disturbing.
Like I don't need to see a nail go through a finger another time ever again. And now I've seen it like 20 times in one movie. No.
The thing about those also is that like some of them we did get a lot in the movie, and then some of them truly exist just in that moment with like a box of fingies crawling around. You know what I mean? And I don't know what the box of fingies was about, but like love it, very spooky.
They're actually it's called the wiggy fingies, if you didn't know. I just made that up right now, but it's now
I fully
something that I will.
believed you.
I'm really good at saying things with conviction. But I
Listen, if you
said
say
it and
with
it rhymed,
confidence,
and I really
we'll
liked it.
believe you.
Wiggy fingies.
Sure. But yeah,
that you're fucked.
she's her psychic ability is that she can like beam it into people's brains, or the images, burn it into things. And they were gonna have a whole scene that was like CGI of like inside of a I don't know
brain?
what the machine. No, like
Oh.
inside like a VCR machine of the like tape being created. And I don't know if they were referencing like when Rachel copies the tape, or Samara like
Oh.
somehow creating the original tape or whatever. But I think that could have tied into that. But also, again, I don't need any details about her psychic abilities to burn images into things. You know what I mean? It just is like spooky and paranormal, and those things you're not supposed to fully understand. You know what I mean? If they give you rules, I think they should have to stick to the rules that exist. But if they don't give you the rules, I don't know them. I can't be expecting to hold them accountable to things that I don't know and that don't exist potentially.
I like the idea of Samara just being like, damn, I'm an evil ghost spirit, and I really want to get the word out there about all the fuck shit that happened to me, and also I'm evil. What's the hottest technology right now? It's the VHS. And she just like divines a fucking VHS out of the ether. I think that's how it happens.
Okay, but I was about to say, I also love the fact that like she's just like, you know what? I'm evil and fuck my mom. So let's make a murderous VHS tape. I'm mad. Mom. Talk about teen angst.
She's like 10.
Same thing.
Tween angst. That might even be worse.
Oh,
less development.
Your body is going through so many changes at that time, you know?
It's very
Well, the
complicated
hormones.
being a 10-year-old.
That, and on top of that, she's going through her evil metamorphosis too, you know. That's a whole nother set that we didn't have to go through. As far as I know, you guys might be evil. And we just haven't, that hasn't come to light yet. But I'm not, so I know that for sure. Even though I'm the bad girl of the pod. Okay, so something that I just want to say really quickly to set the scene for this entire film is that one, the name of the director for this film is Gore Verbinski, which is the greatest name of all time. The second greatest thing about Gore Verbinski, besides the fact that that's his name, is that he directed Mouse Hunt. Have you seen Mouse Hunt?
No.
The greatest film of all time that no one has seen. I made Adam watch it. It is a movie with Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick. No, it's not Matthew Broderick. Nathan Lane and someone else. And they inherit a string factory and a house, and the house they're trying to sell, but they can't because there's one mouse that lives in the house. And it causes all these hijinks. And Christopher Walken is in it. It's the greatest movie of all time. And it is nothing at all like The Ring in any way, shape, or form. It is a slapstick comedy, like very vaudevillian. So he did Mouse Hunt. And then later on, he was like, I'm going to do The Ring. That's what I'm going to do. I love that.
There are
Ring.
strings in this movie. So
he was like, I love string. I got to bring that back. That was super fun. Okay, listeners, if any of you have watched Mouse Hunt and it meant anything to you, please say something to me because this is one of my favorite childhood memories. This movie. No one knows. But yeah, he did a good job with this.
Do you think I was gonna make a joke about this at some point, but now that we've already talked about Gore Verbinski or whatever, I'm not sure how to format it. I was gonna joke that this movie was directed by Catherine Hardwicke. So how do we now pivot?
It is entirely blue the entire time. Is that why you're saying that?
It's
Yes,
green
and also,
the entire time.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's set in Seattle, which is not far from Forks. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of through lines here. Also, Davy Chase, truly don't know. Do either of you know?
No.
No, I couldn't tell you.
Best of wishes to her. She lost out on a role in Panic Room to Kristen Stewart of Twilight fame. So, you know, clearly
The
there was some kind of
are there.
Yes, some kind of behind the scenes collaboration was going on. I don't know what exactly, but something.
Okay, and another fun through line is Brian Cox is the dad in this movie, just like he was the dad in The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Ryan,
Loves to be a dad.
Loves to be dad. He's great at it in different ways. Very different father-child dynamics. But also like he's like 10 years, 15 years younger in this. And so I was like, is that another man? Or is it Brian Cox? And then had to do some Googling. I don't know why my brain wouldn't recognize him, but you know, he's like has been the same oldness level for 15 years. I don't know how old guys do that. They kind of just stagnate at 50, I feel 55.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't know because I did not realize that it was Brian Cox until something on IMDb was like, Brian Cox wanted to do this movie so badly that he didn't take a movie or a role in a movie called Ghost Ship, which we have to watch because I've seen the opening scene and it's insane.
Yeah, we have to do Ghost Ship.
but I love to recognize people in films. Like I recognized Polly Perrette in this instantly. You know what I mean? I recognized Amber Tamblyn instantly, although obviously Amber Tamblyn pretty recognizable. But I've got some kind of face blindness when it comes to Brian Cox because while I haven't watched Succession, where he also plays a dad,
he's in that?
Typecasting.
He's the main dad in that. Did you see my Succession joke on social media?
We have never watched Succession, so
and I texted both of you guys so that I didn't misrepresent you when I made that joke. And yeah, I guess. Wow.
I didn't get the joke and I was just like, it's sometimes I just don't get it. And that's just my fault.
Chelsea,
you know,
we just trust you so much with the social media that we're like, this will land. It's fine.
it won't land because I'm my own target audience, and I guess that's
you
fine,
laugh,
and I make
that's
my
what
posts
matters.
for me. But
I will. I
yeah.
promise to go back and heartily laugh after understanding.
Oh, you'd better.
I will immediately.
But yeah, he plays the mean dad who tells everybody to fuck off a billion times in Succession. That's the groundwork that you need laid for that joke, by the way. But he's the mean dad.
I remember the post now. I was like, I don't really know what's going on, but yeah.
Yeah. Woo! Phew. Okay, it's coming together now. Thank God. But yeah, I haven't watched it, but I have seen enough of everybody else watching Succession to recognize him in that role. But even though he is mostly identical across his different roles since, I guess, 2002, for some reason he's just like old man. You know what I mean? It's not registering. I don't know why.
But he's got such range in his acting. He plays so many different types of dads. You know what I mean?
So many different dads.
So many different
Although I
dads.
would argue there's probably some overlap between this dad and Succession dad, which is
this
not
dad
nice.
Which
Sucks.
is big anger.
Although in this specific role, I mean, it's complicated.
Yeah. Because I was just like, I had seen the movie before, obviously. And so if you haven't seen the movie, you know, there's the beginning part where you're scared and you're just figuring things out. And then there's the middle part where it's just a mystery kind of show for 45 minutes. And that's where I really was snoozing on it. Couldn't tell you the stuff they found out. Couldn't tell you. I know. Okay, wait. I have a question. Is there a part where the boyfriend, husband guy, neither of those are
The baby daddy.
The baby daddy. Thank you very much. Does he find where the video is from in a library, and it has all of their names on it if they've watched it? Did that happen?
No. What he? Oh, do you want to?
Because he said, "Who's the last person who checked it out?" And the guy was like, "Oh, it was you."
No.
Fuck.
I see what led you to these conclusions.
Okay,
But
yeah. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he was trying to check out the medical records for Samara or whatever, and then he went back and said that he was Brian Cox's character. And so he said he was her dad, and there was a
Damn.
list of the last people who had accessed that video, and the last person was Brian Cox, the dad, his character. And so that guy who was like, I know you're not this person, obviously, but also, what do I care, frankly? That was him being like, oh, it was you. But that was a list of I think that was still the medical record place. It was just when he went back under his
but how they figured out where to go was that they were looking at one of the scenes. What?
I'm just remembering. I'll mention it in a moment. You're on the right track.
Oh, okay. I was
You're
like, what did I do now?
No, you're great.
They stretch an image in the video, and they find a lighthouse, and that's where we have the weird fly moment where she pauses it, and a fly on the video is twitching, and so she just plucks a fly out of the video,
and then her nose bleeds.
Yeah,
dude. Okay, that part I was awake for.
But she goes and then matches that lighthouse, and then looks at that island and sees more news clips about all the mysterious things, so she knows where to go.
Yeah,
that's what I was laughing about, because she's like, a lighthouse, and then she goes to the library, and I was like, what is she gonna do, ask for all the lighthouse books? And then they give her a book, and it's America's Lighthouses, and I was like, she did just ask for lighthouse books, and they gave them to her, and she found it immediately. The illustrated history of America's lighthouses or whatever came through for her.
Bitches love lighthouses, honey. Okay, they love them. All right, and I'm bitches. I love lighthouses.
I also want to know, what would this movie look like if it was, I know they made like The Ring 2 and The Ring, or
Rings
Yeah.
is the one that
I
came
have
out in like
seen-
2015.
yeah, I have seen neither of them. They do not exist to me. I don't know what they are, but like,
And I heard
obviously-
Rings sucked real bad. Can't speak to Ring 2, but I heard Rings, like people were like, it's awful.
but like, it wouldn't be a VHS tape.
Yeah, that's what
Like,
this one deals
would
with.
would it be like a haunted like Reddit clip or
USB.
like a
think
a
torrent
cursed
file.
TikTok? Like,
Zip folder.
A cursed TikTok is the
would
funniest
it
fucking.
Oh my
stupid
god.
little thing.
would
Everyone
it
in the
come
world
up
would die.
on my For You page, and like what happens? Like,
First of all, okay, spoilers for the end of the movie, because I'm gonna discuss this in that context. The end of this movie reveals it's a little bit like It Follows, like you have to
Yes.
distribute, you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And we'll get into the details of that later. But the funniest fucking way to distribute it in a follow-up movie or in a reboot or something would be to make it into a TikTok. That is so funny.
It's absolutely hilarious. They should do that. Someone should
Somebody
make that.
option this from Sydney right now.
This is a
thank you.
brilliant
I am
idea.
a genius.
Ring 4. Wow, I skipped one. I know.
'Cause
Don't
I
just
was-
skip 4. Go straight to 5.
I was gonna say, I think if you did another sequel or a reboot or something at this time, it still would be kind of fun to do it as a haunted VHS tape. You know what I mean? Because then you have to like really make the commitment to watch it. And frankly, you get what you get when someone is like Rachel in this movie did not. That was not fair to Rachel because she obviously didn't really understand or appreciate. Nobody warned her like Becca came to Katie. Katie had already watched it in the beginning, but Becca was like, have you heard there's this haunted videotape that kills you and people rent it on purpose after hearing that it kills you? That's very Candyman to me. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
very Bloody Mary. Like you
Agreed,
say the name in
agreed.
a mirror, you get what you get.
Yeah.
You hear there's a videotape that kills people and you watch it, you get what you get. The thing about the TikTok that is so funny is that it would just pop up on people's For You page.
Page.
Totally.
You can't escape.
Yes, it would just pop up totally unprompted, other than you liking other spooky things. Like we would all be screwed.
Just like how
But-
you can't escape the Berries and Cream song, you would not get to escape this TikTok.
Berries and cream, you're gonna die in 7 days. Berries and cream. I'm just doing my little dying in 7 days lab dance.
Oh my god. This is
I
a
hate
cursed
that you
song.
just did that.
I hate it so much. But I love it too.
Berries and cream. Look, I had friends who had their berries and cream phase extensively in middle school already. I
You
just
don't
don't
need
know
to
why
do
we
this
have to bring it back
again.
and why everyone won't let it go. Can we please?
This
don't-
is Gen Z's first experience with Berries and Cream.
They need to grow up. Some of us are older.
Everybody needs to go through that, you know? But
that's
I
a
wish they
rite of
wouldn't do it on the
passage.
world
Berries
stage
and
like
cream
this.
is a rite of. Oh my god, no!
But here's the thing: some of those remixes slap, and
they were very
would-
funny for 5 days, and now it's been 105 years.
Day 20 of Berries and Cream. I've lost all hope. I consider deleting the app, but no, TikTok is worse. Oh man. Okay. Before we got onto Berries and Cream and TikTok and all of that shit, we talked about The Fly. And can I just tell you that another part, the scariest part of this movie for me was the 10 minutes afterwards where I was searching through the movie once again to grab the audio clips for the pod.
Mhm.
And as I sat there scrolling through Hulu, a fly started like just chilling directly in front of me on my LaCroix. And then it like went inside of the can for a little bit. And so its wings were buzzing and it was making the extra buzzing sound. And it like literally would not go away. Like usually they'd make their rounds. Like it was just right there in front of me. And I was like, it's all over for me. It's all over for me.
The mark of the beast.
The mark of the
Okay,
beast.
but also, what if it was the Brundle fly that she pulled?
Your
off,
boyfriend.
and it was a nice crossover of the fly and the
a
ring.
through line, a
That
clear
would be amazing.
reference.
She picked it up and it was just Jeff Goldblum's fucked up face and he says, "I want to be the first insect politician." That would have been a really great moment. Honestly, a missed opportunity for a clear reference. Disappointed in Gore Verbinski for not doing that for us. Catherine Hardwicke as well. She could have stepped in.
Why wasn't she on set? Maybe she's the art director. Maybe that's our little jokey joke. Did you laugh when I just said it? Yeah. But
we have revised.
Just gonna rewind to that point in the recording session and start over. I forgot what we were saying.
We weren't really saying anything.
To invest
we were
in
about
something about the
Berries
fly.
and Cream.
Yeah, Catherine Hardwicke.
That's fine. But okay,
anyway,
I know that we've
joke.
been like all over this movie, but like the opening scene, like not every movie, but like a lot of movies do that like little canned opener, Scream. It was very Scream. Adam wanted me to give him credit for saying that. He said this opener is very Scream, and I was like, and he was like, quote me, especially because of the white home phone, the big chunky white home phone. So that really brought it there. But like this one was executed really, really well. I thought it was amazing. I also love to see Amber Tamblyn, and the fact. Okay, something that I thought was annoying though about this movie is that like Becca was so disturbed that she was sent to the insane asylum or whatever, and then becomes like clairvoyant or something about Samara moving forward. I thought that was a really weird part of the movie. She like reads Rachel's hand or whatever, and it's like, "You have 4 days." I was like, "Why is that happening?" But whatever, I guess I don't get to understand.
Here's the thing. Once you get aware of the nice hospital socks, you just know everything. Like while you are wearing the comfy hospital socks, your third eye is open.
I believe that.
That's just scientific fact.
I believe that. I think that's true. That's definitely true.
But yeah, I mean, on the Scream connection, again, I saw Scream 4 before I saw this movie, but Scream 4 is so... That one actually is like an incredibly clear reference to this movie. You know what I mean? Like, not only do you have the two girls like watching something and then talking about it, and one of them is like being a hater about stuff. And because they in Scream 4, one of their little openers, they're like shitting on scary movies and things. And then also you have the like fake scare. Like they do in that movie, and then you also have like the real scare after that when it's like, I really can't find you and something's happening. And I appreciated having like that baseline of knowledge, you know what I mean? I wish I had seen it the other way around, possibly. But I think if The Ring was referencing Scream 4 was absolutely referencing The Ring, and it's its own nice little cycle, which cycles, if you make them with your hands, look like a ring, which brings me actually to
what?
Yeah, I texted you guys earlier and I was like, wow, I just had a revelation about The Ring, and I'll share it with you later.
What is your revelation?
It's not as exciting as I thought it was at first, because the revelation was that I always thought that the Ring, the title of the movie, was about like the visual of the ring that you see, which is like the light at the top of the well that Samara is in. But then on IMDb, there is a piece of trivia that said, although the meaning of the title The Ring is ambiguous, Koji Suzuki, the author of the original novel, always intended it to mean the cyclical nature of the plot, rather than the phone ringing, which is where I went, what? People thought it was about the phone ringing? But that makes sense, because in the Japanese version, they don't have that visual. That's not part of their movie. It's just the video. I mean, I'm sure there are other spooky visuals or whatever, but the circle that you see consistently throughout this film at significant points, including a little coffee ring on the newspaper, and that being like a moment, you know what I mean? That's unique to this movie. So like, of course, the author of the original novel, which was adapted into the Japanese movie, he's not talking about that, you know what I mean? But the idea that it could also be the phone ringing after you watch the tape is interesting on its own to me.
I never connected the phone ring to the title like that.
Yeah, I truly never would have.
Me neither. And that it totally makes sense. But also, don't feel bad about that because they make it very clear throughout, like that it's a visual thing. Before you die, you see the ring. You know what I mean? It's not like you hear the ring. It's not like the phone is what kills you in the American version. So don't feel too bad.
But speaking of the phone is what kills you, there was a little shout out to One Missed Call in the IMDb trivia, which I remember watching at like a New Year's Eve party in 2007. So we should do that at some point as well.
I heard that One Missed Call from one of the articles I read about like US remakes. That One Missed Call is like the worst out of all of the US remakes.
I remember
from that
being
era.
bad.
Yeah.
But also I had to leave at some point because I was in the 9th grade and, you know, bedtime.
Yeah. And I also didn't realize that like this movie like is the spark that got all of those other movies made because this movie did so well. Like a ton of J horror and K horror got made in US versions for better or for worse. So it was very influential in that way. It did fucking super well. I remember it was all that anyone was talking about, and I was like, please stop, you're scaring me, and I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. From a production standpoint, this movie very much can credit some of its success to The Sixth Sense, and that Sixth Sense proved there was like a market for movies where the horror is more like supernatural and not like real world, which had been the trend for a while. You know, slashers, very 90s. But between the Japanese version coming out and this movie coming out, IMDb said something like the budget for the film from when they optioned the rights like ballooned like 40 times from where it started. And they weren't sure how people were going to receive this movie at first, so it came out in like mid-October. Bless you.
Sorry.
They weren't sure how people were going to receive this movie at first. So it came out like mid-October, like October 18th to 20th, I think were the dates, that weekend. And then they were like, and if it does well, we can expand how many theaters it's being released in the next week, which would be right before Halloween. And so it would be perfect. And it had like the most crazy successful second weekend. And then obviously it became like the huge blockbuster hit that it is.
Yeah, I went and saw this for my 12th birthday.
Tell me everything. Tell me everything.
Christ. 12-year-old me would have literally liquefied in the movie theater. Like she could not hang.
I was hardcore. I
know.
Like, and this was when, I don't know, like I loved seeing all the brand new movies and all that kind of stuff. Like I was in it up until maybe like 2012. And then I started watching like
2012?
I just started watching. I dated a guy who didn't
back to
like
1980s horror only.
I dated a guy who like didn't like watching horror movies, so like wouldn't go see them with me. And so I would just end up like watching old movies in like at home. And also like this movie Jesse wouldn't watch with me. I was like, okay, like we're gonna watch The Ring, and it was like late at night. He's like, no the fuck we're not. And I was like,
the only one who spooked.
But I was like, okay, little bitch. Like
little bitch.
What do you mean you won't watch this horrific movie right before bed and then let me enjoy a nice peaceful slumber? What do you mean?
I also watched it right before bed and then enjoyed a nice peaceful slumber. So I don't know what his problem is.
Grow up, okay? I know you're a 31-year-old man, but grow up.
Adam also wouldn't watch it with me. He was like, this is the kind of horror that I can't handle. And I was like, what about this movie is so different? But also I was deeply like disturbed for a while afterwards in ways that I'm not always. But like the opening part, he was sitting next to me, like looking down at his phone like the whole time. And then he would like watch it and his hands were in both of his ears. This movie, the one thing this movie does do, because I listened to this one or I watched this one with the subwoofer on. I'm doing that with all horror movies from now on. We had it off for what reason? To be nice to the neighbors.
Who cares about them?
Our neighbor is cool. But anyway, like this movie, half the scares are just things that are loud. Like that's half of the scares. And as someone who gets very scared about loud things, I was very scared. There's so many
Sure.
big booms and shit. And I was like, that was a cheap shot. And it fucking worked.
Okay,
Maybe that was the thing. I was watching it too quiet because I was in my bed right with the wall right next to my neighbor's bed, and I didn't.
You should have just said, fuck it, turn on the subwoofer.
yeah,
Sorry,
fuck them
guy.
neighbors. Okay, no. The scariest part about this movie is the creepy child.
She does a great job of being creepy.
No.
No.
I think-
The boy.
The other creepy
Oh,
child.
yeah. The other creepy child. Okay, also
The
started
alive
watching
creepy child.
the alive
You
creepy
just-
child.
Okay.
He is like him and Rachel. What's his name?
Aiden.
Aiden and Rachel are like the archetype for Babadook. Like that was
Oh,
also
yes,
a clear
except-
fucking reference.
The thing is that at the end of Babadook, the mom was like, I need to be a better parent to my child. And at the end of this movie, she was like, your children are trying to tell you things, whether it's through pictures or writing or whatever. And like, at no point did she go back and talk to her child and be like, so we clearly need to be having more discussion. You know what? Okay. In the beginning of the movie, when she picks him up from school, his teacher is literally like begging her to give a shit about her son. And she
Yeah.
keeps just being like, he's fine and it's fine. And he talks about death all the time and it's fine.
Yeah. Also, she was like, yeah, his best friend / cousin died 3 days ago.
Of course he's messed up
Of
about
course
it.
he's messed up about it, but also like the way she was saying it, she was like, it seemed like it wasn't that big of a deal. Like she was more like
Yes.
flippant than anyone should be about their niece dying 3 years or 3 days, excuse me, prior. 72 hours.
Okay, but
Yeah.
I, as a small child and as a grown child who still calls their parents by their first name, I love that he was like, hello, Rachel. And I was like, that
Hello,
was
Rachel.
me as a child.
Okay, but the thing is that like in the beginning, and that scene frustrated me so much. The mom just kept being like, no worries or whatever. And it was like, yes, it is worries. And then
Big
the
worries, Rachel.
yes, it is absolutely worries.
Big
and then
worries.
the teacher was like, he's so self-sufficient. And the mom was like, if that's a problem, you'd be the first teacher to say so. And it's like, this teacher is observing your child at times that you're not there. And they are literally begging you to be a parent to your child. And you are simply being like, no, I won't, at every opportunity. And this teacher is pulling out these like pictures that your child has drawn, showing that they've been focused on death in an unhealthy way for 10 days now.
Yes.
And
She literally was like, oh yeah, that's definitely Katie that he was drawing under the ground. And she was like, yeah, well, she drew that.
which is so funny
them
also
a
because it's
week
so
before
generic.
The girl died. Like
There's a girl
week
in
early.
there.
Like either Aiden like aided and abetted a killer to kill his cousin because he knew she was gonna die, or like he's got some fucking clairvoyant shit happening, and Rachel's just like, yeah, shut up. Like, okay.
But I thought it was gonna come back around, besties. There's even a point at the end of the movie after the whole well scene with Samara where it's like she's finally free or whatever. Rachel literally says to Noah, the baby daddy, she says, she just wanted to be heard. Sometimes children yell or cry or draw pictures. And I was like, yes, like your son, Rachel. And then at no point, she's like, I want him to not be dead. And then other than that, frankly, he is on his own.
Yes. Ugh. Like, okay, I was fucking irate. Like, I understood she was going through something because she had just watched the video. She just got the call that said 7 days and she was freaked out. And so she was in her house freaking out, in her bedroom freaking out. But she let her little tiny boy who looks like he's 5. How old is he supposed to be?
He's
Like
a 47-year-old businessman.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know that. He is also a 47-year-old businessman, but he's like as short as like my knee. Like that's it.
This
He
is
let-
Boss
she let him-
Baby, okay?
This
Literally
is
Boss
Boss
Baby.
Baby.
He is
Oh
Boss
my
Baby.
god.
She let Boss Baby walk to school on his own when he is but a 6-year-old
the
Boss Baby in the
rain.
pouring rain, buckets. Also, like the moment when he mad dogs his dad, I loved that moment.
That was iconic.
That was an
Okay.
iconic mad dogging moment.
Can we also talk about the hold that this movie has on millennials specifically with the names Noah and Aiden? Like every single person that I know has children either named Noah or Aiden. And I think it is a clear reference to this movie.
And they didn't know it, but it's not biblical, honey.
Nope.
It's from The Ring.
No, it's all from The Ring.
I did know a girl named Samara in middle school, and she did
Ooh.
not like the comparisons.
It is a really pretty name, but like, I'm not gonna forget soon that that's the name of that fucking demon child. So,
Well, what was the fact that it's like the burned tree is like a specific
The red
Japanese-
maple.
Yeah, and the fruit of it is called a samara or something like that. I think I read
That
that
sounds
somewhere.
vaguely familiar. Let me
Right?
see if
Like
I have
think,
anything in
think
my
I saw
IMDb
that
trivia.
in the trivia. I read it on the internet. It's obviously a fact. It's
no,
legitimate.
it's true. I've heard that.
We all know what they say about the internet, and what they say, I mean what we say.
Berries and cream, berries and
Don't
cream.
Ugh.
Not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah. Here's an IMDb. I put it in my notes. The tree with the fiery red leaves featured in the movie is a Japanese maple. The fruit of this tree is known as a samara.
See? I
at
retain
that.
things.
I'm proud of you. That's
Which is
amazing.
interesting because that's not
Thank
her
you.
name in the Japanese movie. In the Japanese movie, her name is Sadako.
Interesting.
But is the tree even in that movie? Because it's probably not. Because apparently this movie is 50% different than the original.
That's an interesting question. I have no idea. This is the only point in my notes where I have the word maple. So I just have that one piece of trivia about the tree. So
That's okay. The tree was a beautiful visual, but its meaning was something that I lost in the period where I could not even begin to try to pay attention because
Sure.
it had just been going on. The hunt had been going on for much too long. But the beginning of the hunt was really good. I loved that when she went to the fucking little shed in the middle of nowhere. Very spooky. Love that. Good for her.
When she was going through like the photos of her nieces like weeks away, and they see like that last photo, like after they all watch the video and their faces are all fucked up.
Woggly
I'm
faces.
sorry, like, that didn't scare me, but it did like make me viscerally uncomfortable.
yes, it's hard to,
Creepy as
especially when
shit.
Noah sees himself on the security footage and is like, what's going on? And that's like the moment that changes things for him. And that he finally is like prepared to buy into it once he starts doing all those other photos of himself as well to check. But God, that is like an arresting visual for sure, especially in that moment on the security footage, because he's like moving and he's testing it and he's being like, why is this happening? Instead of just the still footage. I thought that was great.
Yeah, he couldn't explain it away anymore. And that other lady saw it too. The lady was trying to get him to stop smoking. It's like, haha, honey, smoking's not what's gonna kill him. It's Samara. But okay, this is like kind of a non sequitur, but I didn't want to forget. There are so many good cameos in this movie, and like they have to be shouted out. I'm only gonna list two actually, but two are better than none. One of them is Polly Perrette, who is the baby daddy's girlfriend, aka
from
the
NCIS.
goth coroner from NCIS. Oh my god!
Yeah,
Is she a
that's who
coroner?
I was talking about earlier.
Oh, I totally missed that. Sorry. And also we didn't talk about how Adrian Brody's in this.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes.
That was
There's
like,
also somebody else that I
and he's in it
recognize,
for
but
fucking 5 seconds. But yeah, I was mad. My qualm with this movie is that it like packs such a punch at the beginning, and the amp up into the investigation is so good. Like she finds out that that Katie had a boyfriend, that Katie was at a house with 4 people. She finds out slowly that every single one of them died at the exact same time in different ways. Like it's so good. She goes to the house, she watches the video, she gets so scared. Blah 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 blah. Then she invites Davy into the mix. She does all the spooky video stuff, and then it just kind of like I get lost when they get to the island.
Okay, also, Monica, you said Adrian Brody, and it is actually
Adam!
Brody.
Oh my god,
I
okay.
didn't
I
even
always do that
notice.
wrong. I always do that wrong. Who's Adrian Brody? That's a person,
Adrian
right?
Brody is the guy with the nose, and
Okay,
Adam
like,
Brody
always
is
thinking
Seth
about him.
Cohen from the OC.
Okay, I'm sorry.
And what's his face from Jennifer's Body?
When it comes to Brody's, Adrian has my heart over Adam, and so that's why that happened. I'm sorry. I'm a Wes Anderson.
When
girl
it
at
comes
heart.
to Brody's, I agree that Adam is the best.
Yeah, I'm
That
an
is
Adam
not what
Brody
I just
girl.
said.
Oh, you said the opposite?
Yeah, I said the opposite.
Oh.
I was like,
Sorry.
thank you for agreeing with, I guess, Cindy.
You can cut that out because I was just making a silly little joke. What were we saying? Before?
No clue.
Adrian Brody, Adam Brody.
I was talking about how the film wise, pacing wise, the movie was like really good at amping up the mystery, and then like pretty much once they got to the island, I kind of got lost in the sauce there. It didn't like pack the same spooky punches. It was also frustrating because like I totally get where Rachel's coming from. She's like, I don't want to believe that a child is evil, you know? It must be like the parents. But I was just like, the child is evil. The child is evil. I know the Omen hasn't come out yet for you, but like the child is evil. Like, and it was just like frustrating. It was just frustrating. But before it got, oh, what were you gonna say?
I obviously knew Samara was evil. I didn't realize yet, actually, that was one of the things that I didn't know about this movie is that she's just maliciously evil. I thought it was the kind of thing like the autopsy of Jane Doe. I know back to Brian Cox. I thought it was like the autopsy of Jane Doe, you know what I mean? Where she's acting out harm against her kind of thing, maybe. But if you are nice to her, then maybe it's gonna be like bad for you, but okay, generally speaking. No. I thought when Rachel has her whole moment with the well where she brings up the body and then is like, it's all over. I was like, wow, it's all over. I assume there's gonna be another scare or something because I realize I'm not done with the movie yet, and I've probably got like 20 minutes left, so that there's got to be something else. But I didn't know like where it was going until it got back to Boss Baby, and he was like, "You helped her." And the second he said that, I truly did get chills in that moment and was like, "No."
Well, that's the fucking brilliance of this entire movie. Like, if it just ended after the well scene, I would have rolled my eyes so hard because, like, I don't know, the whole like
because that was very
redemption,
cheesy.
savior, that whole thing. Like, oh, it's solved. Like, I don't know. Okay, that can be well done, but like the way the movie had gone until then, it wouldn't have been well done. Like with that being the ending. But like it's just so brilliant because I read this whole article. They like lull you into this false sense of security. They spend the last 30 minutes of the movie that I didn't pay attention to setting up the fact that like the parents were evil. They did all these bad things. They did all these bad things to Samara. So you're like, this is happy, tied up in a bow. Everything is beautiful. No, it's not. Everything fucking sucks. But like the real brilliance of this movie, I think, is okay. The scare is really, really good. I mean, let's talk about that first. The scare that really fucks you up after your fake ending is everything that goes down with Baby Daddy, which he doesn't have a name.
Noah
is Noah. Because that scare is absolutely so fucked up, and I'm so glad that they save any inkling of her like crawling out of the television until that moment because damn it hits.
Because I knew she did that, obviously. And then it was only at that moment where I was like, oh, yeah, we haven't seen that yet. Obviously, there's more.
On the rewatch, I was like, why is she not crawling out of the television in this opening scene? I know she does that shit. I've seen Scary Movie 3, and also this movie. But yeah, no, they save it till when your guard's down, man. And poor Noah, you know, he gets got real bad. What really fucked me up is when that one shot at the very, very end of the movie where they really quickly shoot to his face because you don't get to see his face. Oh, yeah, it didn't even have a nose anymore. Things were not good for Noah.
Oh God. And it's so because it shows Amber Tamlin's face and then like and Noah's face, and you're just like, and also you feel so bad for the NCIS girl because she's gonna go find it.
Yeah, why did that? It's like she hides. Rachel hides from NCIS girl to be not give her a heads up. Is this some latent fuck you for sleeping with Noah kind of thing, or is it just she doesn't want to be implicated in the murder?
I think she just had a lot on her plate. You know what I mean?
She was actually,
yeah, I think she just frankly was overwhelmed. But
yeah, she probably wanted to get back to Aiden because she's fuck. Yeah, very fucked up. She probably was oh fuck, well, if Noah's gonna die, or Noah is dead, we just saw
dead.
It very dead, super dead. Then Aiden is next. My sweet baby boy, my sweet boss baby.
But yeah, I mean, looking at my notes, I was trying to find the moment where I was like, oh no, the girlfriend's coming home, and it's you know, I understand why she is not just doing anything. I'm not saying anything to Polly Perrette, but it is fucked up. And then I found another part in my notes, which is right after the chills conversation. And it was another moment where it was just honestly, if she ever had a single conversation with her son, this would have been avoided. You know what I mean? If she ever sat down and paid her son one moment of attention, this would be solved, because he would have told her earlier, no, this is, I'm getting bad vibes here. The vibes are not right. And I don't know, something could have been avoided.
Vibes are all wrong in this movie the entire time. I think it's the green lighting.
I like that.
They did that on purpose for the vibes with the green lighting. They purposely were trying to give it a sickly feel. The IMDb says, for the choice of the film's color, it was decided that everything was to be tinged with the color green to give the film a sickly, unnatural feeling. Sets were also, this is actually a really interesting detail that I did not notice, but I want to go back and see. Sets were also lit in a way that none of the characters have a shadow, to create an almost subconscious sense of creepiness.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought that was so weird. I didn't notice that at all.
And it works. The vibes here, the entire movie, truly you just feel uneasy the entire time. The entire time. And
it stays with you, man. Before we get totally to the end, which really give you those never-ending haunting vibes, there's a moment in this movie that I really could have done without, but also it was fucking terrifying. So it has to stay. And before I really knew how far it was gonna go, I wrote in my notes, damn, it sucks that watching the killer video, makes horses fucking hate you. That blows.
Don't.
That blows.
This is literally the anti-horse girl movie.
It literally shows a horse girl's life end, her whole world.
And frankly, I did write in my notes, it totally figures that she's a horse girl, because that shot of her just brushing her hair in the mirror, that's a horse girl thing to do.
Horse girl energy.
That's horse girl energy.
Big horse girl energy.
Okay, but let's talk about the actual tape, because this is so fucked up. Could you imagine watching it and then being what the fuck did I just watch? And
Yes,
then
I
being
can
dead
because
7
they
days
make
later.
you watch it in this
And
movie.
Also, here's the thing. I think we've talked about this a little bit before. But people of our age, roughly speaking, unfortunately, we're on the internet at a time where I would not have been shocked to come across something that looked exactly like this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, I watched all those terrible videos about people putting glass jars in parts of their bodies and then it shatters. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then, like,
yes.
obviously, Two Girls, One Cup circulated
thing.
big time.
Oh, what was that? Mr. Hands?
Salad fingers, like all of this random stuff.
No,
This
you're talking about the
absolutely-
horse guy, right?
I'm talking about the horse guy.
Yeah.
I just
I'll leave
think-
it at that.
Yeah, and I don't know what you're talking about, and that's okay.
No,
with
you
me.
don't want to know.
You're
I'll tell you
blessed,
later.
Chelsea.
I'll tell you when you're older.
Yeah.
Thank you. There are so many terrible, terrible things that we saw on the internet as children because our parents did not yet like fully grasp the true horrors of the internet. They were like, if you're not talking to a stranger, honestly, it's fine. And
They were just like,
I
"Don't
was
talk to
talking to
strangers."
strangers.
We
Yeah,
were
for
all
sure,
talking to strangers
I
and
was
watching people get decapitated. Like,
Yes.
Oh,
that's what we
That's
did on
the
the
thing.
internet.
I was
So
on
if I
Omegle
had-
all the time.
If
Oh.
this had popped up, you know what I mean, on whatever one of those little websites was, eBombs World or whatever, I would not have been at all shocked. I would have been like, this is scary, or like, this is creepy, or this is disgusting. But like, it would have
Then you would have
absolutely fit
died
in with
7
literally
days
any
later.
other piece of cinema on there.
Cinema.
This
Cinema.
would have been a
Cinema.
great video for rotten.com.
Oh my God. Okay, can I say that I loved when Noah watched the video and he was like, yeah, it seems like some like film student thing. Like that was his reaction. Like not that good, but like okay production quality.
It's very art house, you know, like
Very art
Sure, sure,
house.
sure.
I like always think that it's going to be more fucked up than it is, and then also it's always more fucked up than I think it's going to be. Like I don't know how it's both, but we got the wiggy fingies, we got the finger through the nail,
We got the creepy centipede, which just those things freak me out. Just
It was too big.
I don't like centipedes, and I'm terrified
Many
of
legs.
grasshoppers and crickets. Like, don't. Like,
Crickets.
yep.
As you know, if
scary.
it jumps, it's not for me. So I'm
Yeah,
with you. I like
like-
seeing them from far away, but they can jump way too far.
Nope. Don't trust them.
No,
don't like
crickets
them.
are good.
Nope. Crickets are bad.
Also, if they get in your house, you're fucked. It's all over.
That's not true. They get in my apartment all the time.
I know,
Not
but
all
then
the
you can't sleep at night because there's one like under your bed going like chirp, chirp, chirp all night long until it dies, and then you're sad.
Maybe they just
Get
resonate
out?
with me on the same vibrational
Oh.
frequency. We vibe too hard. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
Chuff just vibes
Um,
hard with crickets.
Absolutely. Me and the crickets. Because they get in here and I catch them and I put them outside. I have a special cricket catching cup that I save for such purposes. And I always put them outside. I don't kill the crickets because that feels like it would be bad luck. But they've never chirped. I always just see them.
Good.
So they're just
well-behaved crickets. I'm
yeah,
glad
me
for you.
and the crickets.
Can't
Um,
relate. But
but
okay,
yeah, there's
back
a
to
lot
this-
of-
this video. Sorry, you do it. You were gonna do it.
No.
You
I
go.
was gonna change the subject.
Oh, okay,
Oh.
good.
I was
Wait,
just
do you
gonna
have
say,
more?
I loved like seeing, like watching the video and then seeing like all the real life, like
Yes.
them, like that. I did love, like that connection of her being like, I remember this, like I've seen this before. I'm seeing, like it's like burned now in her brain. She's seeing
Literally,
the
yeah.
ladder. She's
The
seeing,
latter
you know,
part
like,
was so good.
you know what I mean? Like that was something that and you were always like waiting to be like, was this in the movie? Oh my God, this was in the movie. And so that was, I think that kept me a little bit more engaged. Like, Monica, were you zoned out? I was
Mhm.
like very much into being like, oh, this was in the killer video. This was in the killer
I need
video.
to rewatch it, but I gotta wait a few years. Yeah, I mean that part that was well done. The parts I caught, that was well done. But yeah, I mean the story. it's the saddest story ever told, even though Samara is like evil. Cause like the mom like wants children for forever and never ever stop trying. And they finally adopt this child and she happens to be evil. And then she drives what?
It's a little bit Annabelle creation. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah, because they just say she was adopted, but no,
Kind of
they
stole her.
And
so
then
it's
the
like,
ring
where
two
did
comes
she
up
come
with like a
from?
whole new thing, where they're
Yeah.
like, actually, it's this other thing, and it's like, well, I haven't seen that movie, so that's not my business. But yeah, I mean, in Annabelle creation, obviously they lose their job. Sorry if you skipped that episode. Whatever. Anyway, it's fine. They lose their daughter, and then they're like, "We'll do anything to have our daughter." You know what I mean? And they end up with Annabelle as we know and love her. And in this movie, it's the same kind of thing. Like, desperation can push you into making deals with people you shouldn't make deals with, taking risks that you shouldn't take, accepting circumstances you will come to regret later on. And it's sad, but also like, don't fuck with demons.
Yeah, the devil knows when you're desperate. He'll come for you. But I mean, it is a really fucking sad story. That it's rather bleak because like the mom, kind of goes crazy because Samara makes her see horrible images. Also, Samara kills all of her beautiful horses. But okay, I would say another part of the movie that like had to have happened, but like was a little cheesy for me, but I still loved it. Okay, one, before we get to that, right before the scene, when Rachel gets yeeted into the fucking well by the TV falling down and smacking her into it, that's the funniest part of the movie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I did laugh. Unfortunately, it a little bit breaks whatever spooky spell you may have had in that moment, because it's
that was a direct reference to Mouse Hunt. That's the type of shit that happens in Mouse Hunt. That's literally
it comes back around.
It comes back around to Mouse Hunt. He was like, you know what? There haven't been enough hijinks and like floors breaking and ha 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 TV, like the staticky TV coming to get her. It's like a little heavy handed, but we like that. But the flashback where you learn everything once she's in the well, she has this flashback where she can see what happens with Samara. And it's so fucked up. The mom literally tries to like suffocate her to death with a black bag, thinks that she's done it, did not do it, and then throws her daughter into a well where she then is alive for 7 days, scratching her nails off of her fingers, trying to climb up the well. It is just as bleak as it gets.
And apparently, when you see her in the movie, she has nails at no point. Like they stuck to that detail, which is I didn't notice, but I'm certainly going to go back and look for it. But that death scene was going to be like even more gruesome until they cut it down for a PG-13 rating instead. But it was going to be like, she tries to suffocate her with a bag. It doesn't work. She hits her over the head with a rock. It doesn't work. She smashes her head into the well. It doesn't work. That's when she gives up and throws her down inside of it. And just like, oof.
What?
There's
a mess.
Also, there's actually a shit ton of references to the ring in Annabelle creation, because there's also a well in that too.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
Damn, never thought about
that. A clear reference.
A clear reference.
But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of deleted materials and stuff like that, there's a lot of really, really interesting things about this movie. And this brings us also to the end of the movie that I want to talk about, because originally the plan was to have an opening scene with a guy played by Chris Cooper, who's playing like a serial killer or a murderer or something, who goes to Naomi Watts, Rachel's character, who's an investigative journalist, as we know. And he was going to be like, can you look into my case and like try to prove that I'm innocent or whatever? And I guess the kicker is that obviously he's not. But so that was going to be like one of the opening scenes, is that he goes to her and is like, help me prove my innocence. And she says no. And then at the end, I don't know, maybe he gets let off or something, or maybe she just is like, I have to show this tape to someone to save my son. Who do I show it to? I'm going to send it to this murderer who reached out to me and I have his contact information.
Murderer.
Yeah,
that murderer I have on speed
that
dial.
murderer. Who could I kill? Oh, murderer. I know. But yeah, that was the original intent. Is they were gonna like bookend the film in that way. And then they decided not to do that because people were like, why isn't he in the rest of the movie? Which, you know, fair enough. Because I guess it was too prominent to see and people thought it was set up. But also I think what's interesting is like it's not just making a copy, it's like distributing a copy is what saves you, not just showing the movie to someone else, which is more directly It Follows-esque. It's that also you have to make more of it so that it reaches more. It's a pyramid scheme is what it is.
It's an totally MLM.
It's an MLM. Rachel's the original. Samara's the original MLM.
Again, she's girl evil. Bossing too close to the sun.
Good for her. Good for her. But yeah, I mean, what I think is really interesting about this movie, what I liked is like the final scene is probably my favorite thing about this movie. Because first of all, that Chris Cooper serial killer murder thing, stupid. Hate it. Glad it's not in here.
Stupid. Like it would have been kind of tying it up in a bow too much for me too. Because it's just like, oh well, we had to kill someone else, but don't worry, it was a murderer, so everything's okay again. Like no.
Yeah, but what I like, well, in the Japanese version, apparently, I don't know what the relationship is there. But the Rachel character in that movie, to save her son, shows it to someone else who I don't know that I want to say, but for spoiler purposes, in case we get to it and you don't know.
Don't say I don't want to know.
But they decided to change it in the American version because they wanted the character of Rachel to still be likable. And that's why they were like, oh, we'll just make it a murderer. But what I think is so great about this ending is that it's obviously doesn't it obviously does not feature the characters turning around to look into the camera and be like, see, we showed it to you. Yes. But like that's what the movie is doing. And that's what's so fun and so cool.
That's why this movie haunts you forever afterwards, because like in that moment it feels like what's gonna happen to you, Monica Haidt, sitting in Los Angeles, California, who just watched this film. Like that's how I fucking felt. That's how you're supposed to feel. Oh god. And especially when they show the little clips really fast right at the end too, just as a reminder, yeah bitch, you saw that shit. Like if my phone rang right then, I would have passed away.
There also was like
forget 7 days.
There also was like another alternative ending where you just like, I think it was supposed to be like a post-credit scene before like Marvel did the whole thing where you just see them returning like video tapes to like a Blockbuster thing, and they put a copy of the tape in one of those and it was displayed as like employees' favorite picks.
Because there was like a previous deleted scene where they rented a movie and the employee was like, that's your pick or whatever. So it's just like some bitchy employee, which not really fair. Not really equal levels of cruel. You know what I mean?
Murderer or a snooty film student at Blockbuster.
But yeah, for me, that's what like... That's what really elevated this film. Like, not only are the visuals super, super spooky at all times, you know, with the what are you calling them, Monica?
Wiggy fingies.
Wiggy fingies.
Wiggy fingies. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, not only with the wiggy fingies and like the candlewick string in the mouth, whatever, you know what I mean? All of those visuals truly super disturbing.
I forgot about that part. Also, don't forget about Brian Cox's fucking beautiful scene.
Oh, yeah. And that is scary, and also was supposed to be a lot more graphic originally. And then they had to cut it down.
Was just enough.
Sure, it was great. And it was also really interesting to like have that moment because it it makes you like mad at him. You know what I mean? That he's not giving us answers at that point in the movie, which is the good setup for them to be like, see, the parents were wrong. And then it turns out maybe the parents weren't so wrong. But that's what really pushes this movie over the top for me, because like I said, I don't need it to make sense, but also there are like details that I want to nitpick. You know what I mean? Like something you mentioned earlier, discovering the 4 kids, Amber Tamblyn and her boyfriend and the 2 friends, they all had the exact time of death. That would work for me if it wasn't 10 p.m., which feels like they just rounded. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if it was 10.
And
like
and also that they would have
10:07 or
Yeah.
that they would have started or ended the movie right at 10 o'clock is also stupid. Not that I think that an obituary would be like, he died at 10:13 p.m. You know what I mean? So maybe that one's just on me, but like that a little for me. And then like there are so many moments in this movie where a character goes, what did they do to you, Anna? Or something like that. Like, what happened to you, Anna? Which is fine, but is a little oversaturated in media. Maybe it wasn't in 2002. Maybe The Ring was the first one to do it. Probably not. But that moment is always like so cheesy. You know what I mean? I felt like the visual of the tree was like a little cheesy a lot of the times.
Agreed.
And if they had just been like, yay, the evil has been defeated after the Samara thing, or if they had been like, no, we're going to use this tape to kill this murderer and then we're fine, that would be not the movie that we got. The fact that it turned around on the audience is what I loved so much, because it's part of that thing that I always talk about, which is like the collaborative experience of like media and the audience. You know what I mean? You're creating an experience together, and that ties it all together in a really cool, fun, interesting, engaging way. And they also did so much fun shit with like the promotion of this movie and the way they like packaged it after the fact. Like they made a bunch of tapes with the spooky footage and just like left them at concerts and stuff like that. And they like put them on like random movie chairs during the opening weekend.
Very
and
Blair
there's like
Witch.
there's like a DVD extras where it's like if you click on it, it'll take you to the cursed video and it won't let you click off anything until it's done. But there's like a sound of a phone ringing afterwards when the screen is black. And like there are so many things like that. If you get the VHS tape, I don't know how this worked exactly. I don't know if they like gave you the movie and it was already not rewound all the way to the beginning or something like that. But if you rewound it all the way to the beginning, it would have the cursed footage and then a black screen and then the sound of a phone ringing. And then the movie would, like the previews would start. Do you remember how VHSs had previews? Yeah. So it was like, even before the previews, they had the cursed footage in there. Like they had a lot of fun with that, like creating that ongoing collaborative experience with the audience. And that's what I think really rocks here.
Totally. It's just like jump scares. I love them. They're all well and good, but like that type of like, manipulation at the end where it's like, yeah, you know how you watch this movie? It's over for you, babe. It's over. Like I love that. And I did not sleep that well last night. So it worked. But we should probably get into our segments. The
segmentos.
The first one being how could it be gayer? And the first thought that I had with this is that I felt chemistry between the teacher and Rachel before Rachel was being so rude.
Oh.
There was like some weird like body language stuff going on. I got a vibe from the teacher. Rachel trying to be cool girl mom, sitting on top of the desk instead of getting on the same level as the teacher. One at first was rude, but then I was like, maybe she's just trying to be like, let me look down into your eyes, that kind of a thing. So would have been better for her to maybe be with the teacher who understood her son instead of
who wants to emotionally support her son.
Wants to emotionally support her son instead of Noah, who is a fuck boy and then tells the son the most bullshit reason ever for why he wasn't his daddy. Like, my daddy was a bad daddy, so I decided to have you. I decided to be a bad daddy. Like, what? Okay.
He is hot though. So
he's very hot.
Here's the thing. This first time I thought him, I was like, oh, who's that hot guy? And then once we actually got to know his character more, I soured on him because he sucks so hard. And then even when they're trying to be at the end of the movie, like, he doesn't suck. They're going to get back together. I was like, ew, no, I'm not here for this romance at all. I'm literally not at all interested in this. But there is a line when Rachel is trying to ingratiate herself with Becca's friends and get information. She says, me and my girlfriend used to sneak up to my room, get high. And I'm sure that the movie thought that they were saying her and her female friend. No, that's her girlfriend. She was talking about having a girlfriend. And I wrote in my notes, girlfriend, you gay? And then the movie just moved on, which is so fucking rude because the answer is yes.
Totally. And she also like was kind of alluding like, oh, what were Becca and Katie doing that night? And like obviously she meant drugs. And in my mind, I was like, gay sex. I was like, is she alluding to them being in a relationship? Which I would have liked that too. That could have been great. If only Katie had gone for Becca, she never would have been with that fuckwad who showed her the video and ended her life.
Exactly.
Well, that is the answer. But I don't know that it was Josh's fault. I don't know that we really have information about that in the movie itself, but IMDb says that like they were trying to record, maybe I didn't understand this. They were trying to record the sports game or whatever, and what came up on the tape instead was the cursed video.
Oh yeah. It's not his fault. It's not his fault, but it's her. If she'd been with Becca, she never would have been with him.
That's true.
And so it never would have happened, which is the point.
If she'd been with Becca, they never would have had to watch a sport in the first place, potentially.
Exactly. Oh my God. Yeah. During that part, I was like, wow, this could actually never happen to me because never would I be caught watching football. Never would I be caught trying to record football. So,
Sorry, Sydney, you're out.
Sorry, Sydney, it's over for you.
But that reminds me of another deleted thing. Sorry, this is not gay. The whole cabin thing was also supposed to be like a bigger plot line because the cabin owner guy was gonna die and be one of the ring victims as well. After Rachel said there was gonna be like a whole bunch more ring victims, basically. And then
I could have done with like down. One more.
Yeah,
a little less spooky, traipsing through the island to find secrets. A little less library time, I think. One less library. And one more kill would have been good for me.
But yeah, that was going to be another thing. And also, I feel that I'm making this relevant to the segment now, just because I can. I feel that owning an inn in the woods by yourself, alone person, that has gay vibes to me.
Totally. And he showed her magic as soon as she walked in the door. Not that magic is always gay, but it was a little exciting, and I feel like that goes into his whole little beautiful persona that he has. He just plays magic by himself in his cabin on his own. Also, okay, another thing I wanted to mention with that scene, that was an obvious reference to the Evil Dead. Because finally Rachel's like, shut the fuck up. And she's like, wow, yeah, you did guess my card. Exactly like Shelley and Linda.
Beautiful.
It was gay there and it's gay here.
Okay, so next up is where is our boy Matthew Lillard? And the answer is, why wasn't he in this movie? Because he totally could have been. It was 2002. It would have been a perfect time. And he should have been somewhere in there. Something.
Here's the thing. He should have been the cabin owner doing the magic.
Thinking.
Yeah.
But they would keep...
Yes, but they should have kept the death in. I think if Matthew Lillard was in there, he should have gotten a good groovy death.
He's good at dying in films. I love him.
Did Scooby-Doo come out in 2002? So like maybe
he could have had 2 movies in 1 year.
Busy being Shaggy.
Shaggy is an all-encompassing kind of thing. I get it.
The thing that I read on IMDb about this movie is that Gore Verbinski like purposely cast lesser known actors who hadn't necessarily like broken into the mainstream yet. Not necessarily nobodies, but like Amber Tamblyn, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants was later. Joan of Arcadia was the next year. and Martin Henderson, sorry to this man, but I don't know him. And Naomi Watts is Naomi Watts. But again, I kind of looked at her IMDb, and there was nothing like huge before this.
Oh, this one like skyrocketed her.
Yeah. But IMDb said that they really wanted to kind of have lesser known actors so that the film would be discovered by audiences instead of people like following an actor to the theater, but also take that with a grain of salt because the very next IMDb trivia entry was the role of Rachel was first offered to Jennifer Connelly and also offered to Jennifer Love Hewitt, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kate Beckinsale. And so I was like, okay, well, now I don't know what to believe. But disregarding all of that, Matthew Lillard absolutely should have been in this movie.
He should have.
Yeah.
And the innkeeper would be perfect for him.
Stunning. It would have been stunning placement. We're at 127, so we gotta like spit through the rest of the shit.
Okay.
Just so you guys know.
Yeah, but there's a couple. We've got probably at least like 3 or 4 minutes of long pauses to cut out. All my berries
I
and
think
cream.
there's some other good stuff of
every single berry and
some
cream.
stuff we can cut out. Yeah.
Berries and
okay.
cream. Berries.
No.
Girly girl. I need to stop saying girly girl though, because I am saying it constantly lately, and I'm gonna accidentally misgender somebody.
I have not heard you say that once.
It's in my notes 1 billion times because I'm already trying to cut back on it, which is why I'm trying to say it last. But if you saw my Evil Dead notes, also you would be like, "Oh, she sure is doing girly girl."
Girly girl.
Girly girl, do not go in there. Yeah.
Oh my god. That's like very auntie energy, and I like it.
I
okay.
have quote, ask her where she keeps her Vicodin, girly girl, and then quote, no worries, girly girl, yes it is worries here in my notes. So girly girl, if you don't talk to your son for details, walking under a ladder is bad luck, girly girl. Girly girl, we can't just murder our daughters because they're giving us a mental health crisis.
True.
That's all of the girly girls in here.
Okay. So next we have to do dumb bitch. And it's hard for this one because everybody makes mistakes in this film. But I feel like for me, though I love her, it's Rachel. Because she's a bad parent. And it really
that's very
comes
compelling.
to the head when like she's knows that she has a cursed videotape, actually 2 cursed videotapes in the house, and she does not lock them up so her son cannot watch them. She leaves them in a place where her son can easily watch them. And that's a big dumb bitch energy.
I think we could just say bad parenting is the dumb bitch of this movie.
Sure.
You've got Samara's parents who like are bad. I mean, like they're not bad, but like still like
she is evil, but it's still
I still think you can't murder your daughter just because she's evil. You know what I mean? I don't know what the solution is.
But not
and maybe
that.
you feel a greater responsibility to the world at large and horses everywhere. But yeah, I still think don't murder your daughter. Generally speaking, I feel like that should be a rule. Don't murder your daughter.
I also feel like the tree house in the barn in the sky and that's where she sleeps is a little bit of a bad move.
Sure. Don't know how that would really ingratiate yourself with your evil daughter. You know what I mean? You're not going to get on her good side, making her sleep in a scary room on the barn.
Yeah. We're like, you take away the ladder and she's trapped up there unless she jumps down and then she'd die. So like pretty evil. Yeah, so I agree with you, Sydney. I think bad parenting takes the cake.
Parenting.
Hard to narrow it down any further, honestly. It's just nitpicking at that point.
They're all pretty bad. Every parent here, not very good. Noah, oh my god.
Right? Let's not even.
Barely can count him. But okay, so that brings us to our knives out of 5s. And Chelsea, you said that you had some interesting data to show us about this film.
Yeah. So on IMDb, this movie got 7.1 out of 10. And critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave this a 71% fresh.
A lot of 7s.
Yeah, 7.1, 71, same thing, basically.
7 days?
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, I was like, yeah,
That's
sure
the
is
point I
same
was
number.
making.
You're too smart for me. But yeah, I mean, 71% fresh from critics. The kicker is that audiences gave it 48% rotten, which is quite the discrepancy.
Jeez. They're
That
also
said,
bored.
Davy Chase, however you say her name, she won MTV Movie Award for Best Villain. And this movie was nominated for Best Movie at the MTV Movie Awards, and it won Best Horror Thriller at the Teen Choice Awards. So while audiences may have said it was rotten, they did still like it. I mean,
The
obviously they
teens
liked
loved it. The teens were all about it. Okay, and back in the day, in 2002, Teen Choice Awards and MTV Movie Awards, those had a lot more clout. Those had big clout. Okay, so that means a lot.
Oh yeah.
I see that. I could see that. I could see an adult being upset because they're like, this movie is about bad parenting and I feel like seen, you know? And a child being like, a scary baby. Oh my God. Amazing. Amber Tamblyn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think the thing is that I absolutely understand and relate to the people who said that this movie is rotten, because there are so many things about it. If you really get into the nitty gritty and the middle of the movie that are like cheesy or silly or a little dumb. But I also think that the marketing is really smart, and
Yeah.
they had so much fun with that aspect of this film and that aspect of creating a film, which I think is something we don't always take into account, usually because there's not much there to take into account. But also that the scary visuals are truly so fucked up to look at, you know what I mean? And that is where the strength of the movie really resides. And then also the ending is for me enough to make me forget about it and completely ignore all of the things that I didn't like, you know what I mean? So like, is it a perfect film? No. I absolutely relate to those rotten ratings, but also it's redeemed enough that I would give it like a solid 4 knives out of 5s.
I also give it a 4 out of 5 knives. I love this movie. I don't know if it's because like I saw it as a kid and it like really fucked me up, but it was like so fun. Know what I mean? Like I think this is like the movie, like I will watch movies and like scary movies and I'll be like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then afterwards I'm like on an adrenaline high and I'm like, fuck yeah. And people are just like, why are you like this? And I'm like, it's like a roller coaster, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And this movie I think was like my big scary, got to see it in the theater, know what I mean? And so I was just like,
Turning 12.
right?
It's a big year for a young girl.
Right? All the hormones, all the scary movies. I was ready.
Right there.
And I haven't watched it in a really long time. And it wasn't as scary this time, but it did where I was really scared. Now I just felt like dread. And so it like it made me feel something different than what it originally made me feel. And I thought that was really cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm also right with you guys. I'm also gonna give this 4 knives out of 5. We're all in unison. But
Look
yeah,
at
like
us.
this movie, like I said, lost me in the middle, but I still like I'm so glad I saw it again. Like I still love it. I still had a really good time. Yesterday was just a long day. My brain couldn't hold on. It's not their fault. But like a movie that has like this sort of like staying power and like haunting energy surrounding it. Like the fact that it absolutely scared me shitless and I never even fucking saw it as a kid. Like I was terrified just of the concept of it. That's good marketing, honey. Like they did a really good job. Like that's brilliant. And the fact and you're right, Chelsea, I agree with you so much. The ending I found to just be so brilliant. I was like jumping up and down in my seat at the end because I was like, fuck, this is terrifying. Like they don't need to break the fourth wall. They just basically do. It's just like, you just watched this shit, you're gonna die. And I wish someone had called me in that moment so I could have passed out. It would have been amazing. They should have just had the ring, just happened right at the end. That's my only critique. Maybe it happens after the credits. But anyway, I had a blast watching this movie again. 4 out of 5 notes.
Well,
Huzzah.
that brings us to our next episode. It's very special. Sydney, would you like to tell us all about it?
It's my birthday episode. It's not on my birthday. My birthday is on the 24th. So everybody better wish me happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Sydney.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. But do not sing to me. I will cry.
Okay.
So
Do not.
Important. Good to know.
Very important. Fun fact about me. But like I said in our little mini bonus episode, we're going to be doing a 1990 classic, Just Like Me, Stephen
Amazing.
King's It.
The whole thing, baby.
It's going to be a 3-hour journey for all
So
of
start
us.
watching right now.
Right.
So you have time to finish it before next week.
And so I love the 90s Tim Curry ones so much that I refuse to watch the new ones. So I definitely want to hear from everybody, like, if the new ones are worth me watching or if I will just shit on them and hate them. Because I am coming in as I'm going to hate them attitude.
Here's what I can tell you is I started to watch part 1 with some friends and then we gave up and watched something else instead. So I don't know that they're worth a watch. I do follow someone on Twitter who's obsessed with them, but was obsessed with them before she ever watched them because of a particular ship in them, which presumably I think is a canon ship. So I'm excited to see it in the original, possibly, or whatever hints of it there exists there. And I'm hoping that my experience with this It is a little better than the experience that I tried to have with the newer It that just didn't come together for me.
As
Have
someone
you
who
seen the 90s one?
No, I haven't seen that. The new one is the only thing I had seen at all.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Chelsea.
I'm excited for you.
I didn't like that you just said my name. Whoa. Why
Oh.
did that? It was just a little experience that I had. Sorry.
As someone who has seen the old and the new ones, I love the new ones, but also they have a lot of flaws. But I mostly love the new ones because I fucking loved all the kids they cast in the first ones.
Oh, the casting was spectacular for
Oh,
sure.
the casting was amazing. All those kids are fucking hilarious, and they do like a really great job in the movie, and they're absolutely adorable. That said, there are some choices that are made that are questionable, but I'm glad to go back to the OG.
But a fun fact was going back to The Ring. The Ring was the highest earning remake ever until the new It came out.
Oh damn!
So
Yeah,
a
we
fun
did that
little
on
through
purpose.
line.
A through
That was the
line.
through line that we planned. We read that and we were like, oh yes, of course. But anyway, so join us next week. We're gonna celebrate Sid's birthday. It's gonna be lit. But you know what? Didn't you have a good time? Wouldn't you think it'd be fun to give us a 5-star rating for Sydney's birthday?
For
on
my
Apple
birthday.
for her birthday on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. You have so many options. Oh my God, it would just be a great gift. Also, you could follow us on social media at spooky_Tuesday on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. We're going viral there these days. You might not have heard about it. We're also on Facebook and Tumblr at Spooky Tuesday Pod. And finally, follow us on Letterboxd at Spooky Tuesday. Thanks for listening.
Bye, spookies.
Before you die, you see the ring.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamara Simons, who you can follow on Instagram at Captain Tamara, and our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram at the_moon_OMG.